right, welcome to the program, The Desk on Global Television, our first series in the course of 2025, as we look at things that played out in 2024. And indeed, we're so glad to be in 2025, but we're determined to x-ray the things that went right and wrong in the course of 2024 so that we can project properly and correctly and balanced in projecting and setting agenda for Nigeria in the year 2025. And today's edition, we'll be focusing on the media space. How well did the media do in 2024? And what were the highs and lows, and what projections should be ahead of 2025? What key role can they play in order to be the synergy between the government and the people to the government, vice versa? And no other better person but the man who works with the Deutsche Welle African Service in the person of Ben Shimang is the man that will be taking us through this very interesting talking points. Not to forget, my name is Anthony Momodi. Welcome me to the program. And we've got Ben Shimang, who is with the African Service of Deutsche Welle, joining us via Zoom to give us his take as regards the scorecard of the Nigerian media space. How well did they do in 2024? And what should be the projection for 2025? Good evening, Ben Shimang. Thank you for joining us on the desk.
Thank you very much. I'm happy New Year.
All right, let's look at what will be your scorecard for the media in 2024. What were the highs and lows, as we also look at how to project and set the agenda for them in this new year?
I think the media in Nigeria is doing very well to the extent that it's holding government to account properly. And that's why at the point you just see that the government is not comfortable with what the media is doing. And they feel that they're actually over-prognosing. But it's not issue of being over-prognosing. It is a legal right enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution. Apart from that, what do you also call the Freedom of Information Act allows the Nigerian journalists to question and unearth anything that is hidden, so that the people know what government is doing or what government is not doing. So that bridge between government and the people is sacrosanct. It belongs to the media, and the Nigerian media are doing so well in terms of whether it's with the federal government. They are doing that. You go to the state level, you go to the local government, they are doing that. And in terms of enlightenment, what is it that the media is doing to ensure that natural disasters like floods that come on the media kind of educate the populace to ensure that they take precautions. And when we're talking about some diseases that are breaking out, the media is always there to tell people this disease is available, or this is the time that it comes, so that people take precautions. Is it cholera? Is it polio? That people must know. Is it this monkeypox? People must always know some of these things. And apart from that, when the rain is about coming, what kind of rainfall is it that will be available, so that farmers begin to know via the media that this is the time the rain will come, and this is the time the rain will cease. What kind of crops will you want to plant? Then politically, the media sets up the agenda as to what government should do, because by way of looking back, they've seen that the government did such and such a thing and it didn't come out well. Or if there are areas that it came out well, what are the things that should be done again to make it better? So the media is doing very well in Nigeria in terms of these areas. Now, is it the entertainment world? Because that is another duty the media must do. entertain the people. Look at what is happening in the movie industry. Nigerians are doing very well, and of course, the media will always project them. Nigeria, I give kudos to the Nigerian media.
All right, as we extray 2024, before we start setting the agenda for 2025, the media did take some sticks in the course of 2024, where the government seemed to suggest that the media did play to the gallery in its form of reporting and not fact-checking some reports before going to press. While on the part of the media insisted that they did fact-check and they raised these issues. And the media also did try to suggest that it looked like the government was trying to twist them with harassing them and trying to bully them, even with the NBC placing some fines and sanctions on some media houses before the court order came to the rescue of the media.
Yeah, you see, I'll say that sometimes if we say the government, it looks like it's a total a blanket. Everybody is guilty. There are, however, some instances where we have to single out some individuals, either some governments, governors, not all governors. And when we say federal government, it has to be some agencies not happy with some conducts of individuals. But we also do have, yes, I know as a matter of fact that some media houses were sanctioned because the National Broadcasting Commission felt they went above their brief, and therefore there were sanctions. Sanctions could come by way of banning some programs, suspending some programs. You also find some programs. Vision FM was a victim of that. Sometimes back to even Trust TV or the Daily Trust newspaper faced that those sanctions. But good thing that at the point they came out clearer. Some issues were resolved behind the scene, talking of alternative dispute resolutions. But in all, this attempt to gag the Nigerian media, close their mouths, didn't succeed. Just this December, some journalists were released, and now we thank God that the journalists were up and doing. Recall the case of fake degrees coming from Benin Republic, whereby some people just disappear within 3 months. They have masters, they have a PhD. So you could see the contradictions. The time you finish secondary school, the time you went to the universities, when you are moving, there's even ECOWAS visa, or the passport, that when you leave the Nigerian boundary, they're supposed to stamp that you have left, and when you enter the neighboring country, they stamp that you have entered. If you are coming back, the journalists that went undercover and did all of those things realized the anomalies. He came and presented his papers, no due process in terms of checking, and he was mobilized for service. And it was at that point that he revealed what the bad things that were taking place. And you could see that the federal government reacted. Some of those who have been employed, some in the universities, they said, if you are in that place, you are on your own. Now the universities in the Republic are trying to ensure that the normal thing is being done. But you see, usually it takes many people to tangle. If there were some guys who had bad universities that could do all of that, it means you also had some bad guys who are patronizing. So it was a kind of a relationship that was bad. Here's one providing bad service, and here's another patronizing the bad service, all in an attempt to cheat humanity. Imagine if that was not revealed. Somebody comes with some medical certificate, he's a doctor, and of course he's taken to theater to do operations on people. So what happens? So kudos, that is thumb up to the Nigerian journalists. It's like Anas in Ghana, who up to now no one knows who Anas is. Anas can pretend to be a mad person. Anas can just be anything, and he has ensured that the oil sector is sanitized in Ghana. He has done that to ensure that the judiciary is sanitized in Ghana. And so we need more of Anas in Nigeria to unearth many of our problems.
All right, talking about unearthing the problems in Nigeria, there were also issues of a disappearance of a journalist, in one case, locking up of a journalist by the Nigerian police force until civil society organizations, cried out before the journalist was released. On the part of the Nigerian security agencies, the judiciary, would you say they've worked hand in hand with the media, and have they shown the media that respect of the fact that they play a very strategic role in Nigeria's democracy and nationhood, rather than how they look down on journalists, and in terms of how they are ill-treated, even in terms of payment, and also, the reward system?
Yeah, when we're talking of, first we start on the reward system. By the reward system, I know you mean in terms of remunerations, the rights of the journalists when it comes to earning a living, salary-wise, entitlements, transportation, housing, vehicle allowances.
Even the hazard of the job, hazard allowance.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That's where I'm driving at. If you don't have a vehicle to take you to where you do your job, of course there is hazard. Now you also go to very dangerous areas where there is a bomb blast. People are running away. You're going there. Where is the hazard allowance? And therefore, when it comes to what you call insurance of the journalist, or insuring the journalist against either bodily harm, destructions, death, and all that stuff, we don't just have it. So that's why people are talking of specialized salaries for them. If they're going I was an embedded correspondent at the point the military will give me their uniform. I followed them to areas of operation. Is this Sambisa, Kamborungala, and all that. At the point we were attacked, how many times even soldiers got killed. But you see, with the soldiers, they have their own kind of insurance. But what about me, the journalist who just went there? I was not having any insurance cover. So the journalists need quite a lot of this. You see them reporting in the State House, you see them reporting in the National Assembly, you see them talking about EFCC recovering also huge amounts of money. They bring out all of this. Without the journalists, the population, the world would not know that these are corruption cases and these are monies recovered. But as the journalists, having witnessed some of these things, where do they live? Where are their their children schooling? What's the kind of life they live in terms of making it better? Some of them live in shanties, and they walk such long distances, mount motorcycles before they reach main roads to get vehicles to go report in the State House, to go report in the National Assembly, to go report even what EFCC is doing. So they report the judiciary, of course, and so the journalist will see it all, yet he has nothing. He succeeds in bringing out kings, in making out kings. Sometimes they identify people, hype them up, and in the end, those people get elected, and the journalist is abandoned somewhere along the line till he's needed in the next election. So a whole lot of things that the journalists would need. Even those who have media houses, they should be able to start assisting journalists seriously, because sometimes you just see that they also fraternize with government, get some contracts too. But what does the journalist get in return? Aside his basic salary. Even the basic salary is nothing to write home about. When you're talking about what you call minimum salary, the journalist should past what you call a minimum wage. And when you're also talking of some media houses, you've worked in that place for about 10, 15 years or 20 years. They just wake up and tell you, we no longer need you. Services no longer required. No pension, no gratuity, nothing. And nothing as a nothing. You now throw the man with his family into the unemployment market. It's a big thing that is facing the journalists. And that's why when you say there's a brown book, what is it, brown envelope journalism, how do you blame a man who they said he must bring that story by all means? He goes to bring it, whether he borrows the money or not. And that's why sometimes some people will have to assist them by way of transportation, by way of small welfare. And you give a journalist welfare, then you're making it look like you have paid for his entire life, because you've given him some peanuts. It's because the media also, owners, the media owners also do not appreciate what the journalist is doing on ground. And that's why the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Nigerian Women Journalists that is association watch, they ought to come together and say, where can we make it better for the Nigerian journalists?
All right, let's look at the media houses in Nigeria. There seems to be a dichotomy between the big five and the rest of the group. As in the big TV stations, the big media houses, then we also have the international organizations which you've got access to. Tell us, how does this play out in terms of ability to access news, ability to access top-notch guests, to get informations, and also the credibility of these informations and reports? How does this affect reporting in terms of the big five TV or newspaper print outfit, then also the international media outfits who have correspondent, top-class correspondent like yourself, resident in the country?
Now, let me start from what you call it's even a Nigerian creation. It's a local media, international media. And you know, when it comes to those adjectives, it's like somebody who has made the best of the best shoes in Aba, here in Nigeria. But they say it's local. No, we need Italian. Okay, no, you just remove the label, just get a label that looks like Italian brand, and just say made in Italy, and you begin to sell even higher. And so the same thing when you say international media. There are things you call access, easy access. Sometimes you send you give your card to somebody, go give your boss, I just want to ask a question. You find out that you are ushered in quickly. Compared with some people here that they say, they are local. They tell you, go and bring a letter from your organization, tell us, tell us the areas, send the questions in advance, send this, send that, and so it's a thing that is common with Nigeria. But let me tell you, this thing you call real local, there are times the international media may not be your real focus. If, for example, there is an outbreak of cholera around Lube or Nyanya area, gentlemen, can you focus on the so-called local media? Because the FM, they are hitting those areas instantaneously and simultaneously as you broadcasting, so that, have you had it so we just had it in Armed Forces Radio, we just had it in FM Capital FM, we just have it in Wazobia, we just had it, because it evolves around the immediate community. Now you want people to come out and clean some streets in the market or some areas to avoid cholera, to avoid malaria, and now you are inviting Deutsche Welle, you are inviting BBC, you are inviting Radio France International. At that point, I think, to the best of my knowledge, you tend to miss the media you are inviting. So there's also what you call the media literacy. You should know the mission of many of these media organizations. And so when again it comes to what you call the very big ones, these are the media organizations that have made names, and therefore they get the patronage. At the point you see some some big guys in government or even in business, it's like they have to apply, they have to beg, they have to cajole so that they are featured. When indeed some other people have written reminders, text messages, nobody is responding to them. But this over the same issue, they are begging to be accepted or to be invited by these big so-called big media organizations. So if we don't get what we call media literacy, we know the outreach, we know the focus. What message do you have? Who are you targeting? What range? Those things will help those who want to pass on messages to people. And there are times you also know that there is media convergence. The telephone that you have can always bring in the messages that are text, messages that are voices, messages that are video, the footages here and there. So you want photographs, what is it you want? You can always share these things easily. And again, you also have those who are the spin doctors who always say, look, everything Oga is doing is fine. The government is nice. Mr. Governor, Mr. Minister, His Excellency, please forget about these noisemakers. They don't mean well to you. In fact, when you begin to have all those spin doctors who always deceive the governors or ministers, there is a problem. Then again, you have those who are actually out to destroy. They destroy an individual, they destroy an institution, and constantly, just like sometimes I get worried when you see some people just insisting the soldiers are not doing well, they are not doing this, they are not. You need to visit, Anthony, some of the operational areas. A soldier man, his family is in Calabar, he's operating in Maiduguri. The last 1 year, 2 years, he has not seen his family. And you're telling us the man is not doing well, And I remember General Christopher Musa, at the point was warning commanders. I said, I was there in Ibadan that time. He was warning commanders. I said, look, when we give money to give to soldiers, please give them so that they don't give us a bad name. You see, the media was there and was saying it clearly. GOCs were there, commanders were there. He said you cannot begin to hold people's rights. Soldiers have their rights, and when there is time for them to go on pass, please allow them to go on pass, go see their families, let them fraternize with their families. But the situation where you see this soldier has gone on pass how many times in a year, but there are some too, because someone feels he has the right to return them and post them anywhere, anyhow. It brings what you call fatigue. The word fatigue has to be, is always there, So the media will have to also expose some of these things so that it's a kind of a partner in progress, the building of this nation. So the whole gamut of things is that if there is a better Nigeria, there will be a better journalism. Better journalism, better Nigeria. Because if you look at who is who or who was who that time in the media world in the fight against independence, they all were journalists. And if you want to go there, is it Nnamdi Azikiwe? Is it with West African Pilot? Is it Awolowo? Is it Ahmadu Bello? Is it Dike Nwachukwu? Is it Abubakar Karimi? Is it Balarabe Musa? Just keep naming them. Just name it. They all were journalists who were fighting the colonial masters. And when people fought wars with guns to ensure they had independence, Nigeria used the media to get independence.
All right, let's go for a quick break. When we return from the break, we'll continue the conversation with Ben Shimanga, who's with the African Service of Deutsche Welle. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. We're still looking at the Nigerian media space as we x-ray what played out in 2024, and we are setting agenda for 2025 for the media in Nigeria. We've got Ben Shimanga, who is with the African Service of Deutsche Welle, joining us and helping us look at this from a very deep perspective. All right, let's look at issues now concerning how best to improve the media in 2025. What should be the agenda to be set by the Nigerian media, looking into perspective the fact that 2027 polls is around the corner. Last year we had a lot of by-elections that took place. We saw the judiciary also in a lot of mess. We also had the issue of insecurity and the economic situation in the country. So what should be the agenda for the media going forward?
First of all, let us look at the base, the foundation. In terms of the training from polytechnics and universities, there has to be professionalism. So that whoever is being churned out, just like the doctors, the moment they are out, you can see that they are already performing. Just like the architects, the moment they are out, they are already performing. So journalism shouldn't be a very hard thing. So in terms of operations too, you see, there's a great shift in terms of viewership, in terms of listenership, and even readership of what is happening in the media space. So we cannot push away what you call the social media. The majority of the youths, or quite large chunk of them, are into the media space via the social media. And so we have to have the internet that is strong. We have to have content that is attractive to the youth, and we have to also ensure that our platforms are also on our telephones, our handheld devices, because today, if you go into some houses, you don't see families seated. Even when the television is on, everybody's again doing something on his phone. So that tells you that something is happening in the phone. So if we make it attractive, we also download them, send them by way of files. We can playlist them in the social media so that we get attracted. Outside that, I think that the journalist should not be a pushover at all. We shouldn't be a pushover. We are a factor to be reckoned with, and that is why it is so enshrined in chapter 4 of the Nigerian constitution. If you check, when you say the fourth extent of the realm, we start with the executive, the legislature will come in, the judiciary will come in, and the fourth estate of that realm is the journalism. So the media has to be there. So we also have to change some methods of or way and manner in which we send our messages. Yes, we do know there are news of special interest. Diplomatic news, for example, might not attract the youth. The economic news might not attract the youth. After all, in real sense, when they're talking about stock exchange, how many of us actually follow that thing? So that is specialized news. When we're talking about insecurity, how many people actually follow those things? Even I do know some people who will say, look, why is it that when we have media, press review, for example, it's always about negative. You carry every headline, it's something killing there, blood spilling here and there. So some will say it increases their high blood pressure. So that's why some people go into sports. The moment in sports, they are okay. But again, some people will also tell you, look, once it is sport, it creates anxiety and raises the BP. So it's a gamut of things that we all have to check. The EFs said, NBC, the regulators, I think they shouldn't be too harsh in terms of giving out licenses. At the point they say grade A, Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, they are grade A. So if you must get a license from there, it's so costly, so exorbitant. Then you go to be a block B or the big group. These are state capitals that are doing well. However, they don't generate the kind of money or attention that they have in Abuja because of government. Then in Lagos, it's a commercial nerve center. Port Harcourt, commercial nerve center. Kano, a commercial nerve center. So you could have a state like Enugu. They belong to B. You have a state like maybe Maiduguri, Borno State, that's a B. Then you go to C. C, they hardly can make anything. They say Yobe is there. Okay, where is Ebonyi? Where is Bayelsa? That kind of a thing. The population is less and economic activities are less, so the license too goes down. Then you also have what you call the community radio, which does not exist anyway in Nigeria. When you hear an FM station saying it's a community radio, it's really not the real concept when it comes to community radio, community broadcasting, is that some communities can just come up, have a radio station, nobody pays, they run the place just to ensure there is peace, they are doing awareness and all that stuff. So it's not a commercial thing. You can't call a commercial station a community radio. It's wrong. So NBC, I think their laws are becoming too stringent. People want also to vibrate in Abuja. I want to call it vibrate in Abuja. They say no, the place is saturated, oversaturated. Now they now say, okay, go to a place like Kefi, begin to move towards Lafia, begin to move towards Koi in Kaduna State, begin to go to Suleja. So what is wrong in vibrating right inside the city? So you can see that the law itself at the point is not too friendly. Then for the broadcast, for the newspaper, the Nigerian Press Council, you see, there's a law that says newspapers must be registered. But NUPAN, that is Newspapers Proprietors Association of Nigeria, they have always opposed that. People should be free to just do their thing the way they want. But in doing that, the broadcasting, if it is regulated, it also follows that the newspaper industry, the publishing industry has to also be regulated, and that's why you have the Nigerian Press Council there, having an executive secretary. They have staff there who are being paid to monitor what the media, the print industry is doing. Just like the broadcasting is being monitored by the NBC. But in all of that, it shouldn't be overbearing in such a way that it begins to impinge or hinder the progress of the media in terms of information, gathering information, dissemination to the people. And the engineers, I think that the Nigerian engineers, when it comes to creating, I mean, everything in the studio, we are still importing. How many years of independence? How many years of departments of engineering? You know, ordinary light you see for Christmas carol, we import from China. China is even not a religious or a Christian community. So why are we not creating some of those things? Ordinary torchlight for security men, we don't create. Therefore, microphone, we can't create. Nothing. What are we actually creating for the media world? I'm challenging the Nigerian engineers.
All right, let's look at one key issue that has been playing out in the media for quite a long time now, where is the elites, those politicians, those in government that own media houses. How do you think this has affected professionalism that you spoke about earlier on, and the issue of the media being truly professional and sincere and carrying out its mandate as provided by the Constitution without interference, knowing that these elites seem to be wanting to, serve certain interests?
Yeah, you see, I think if I would look at TVC, for example, we are told it's associated with the Nigerian president, Tinubu. Even though they tend to give attention to what the government is doing, I still see that they go into some rural reporting that at a point could be embarrassing to government. I give you an example. There was a time BBC had a program, they call it BBC Akarkara. Karkara means village or the rural community. What they will do is they will leave London, come to Nigeria. While in Nigeria, they just select a remote village and go and broadcast there. What are they looking at? The roads they took there, they took to the village, they are filming it. Then they look at water, they're looking at schools, they're looking at healthcare, whether primary healthcare is there, or what about the schools? So in other words, they took the broadcasting to the community themselves. In Nigeria, we don't have that kind of approach. Now, what I'm trying to drive at is that by the time we in Nigeria begin to showcase the suffering in villages, some people will feel, oh, you are here to disgrace the village. I see that channels is also a kind of, you see them in buses going to remote areas, and from there they go get stories. And so it is very, very good that we do it that way. But there are times you also have some media executives who feel that, oh, if you bring this story, government may not like it. Government has not told you not to report so matter. But in as much as your story is not going to create conflict, please write on. But when people begin to hold what they call self-censorship, I will kill this story because it doesn't please it won't please the governor, it won't please Mr. Minister, it won't please the local government chairman, it won't please the emir or Oba or the Obi, and so we begin to kill it. But that is different from what is called developmental journalism. It is also different from what we call the social responsibility theory of mass communication. Social responsibility theory calls us journalists to ensure that we bring in peace in our news reportage. We ensure that there is living in harmony so that everyone moves without let or hindrance. Don't bring hate speeches. Don't bring religious dichotomy. No. What is it that you can bring to ensure that people live as a collective entity? Because people ask, are Somali journalists living better now? The country is bad. Look at what is happening between Israel and in Gaza.
Okay.
And the Palestinian. Are the journalists having it best there? So if we preach peace too in terms of progress, I think no matter how harsh one we can be against a government, there are also some elements of goodness in what they are doing. So we should always try to create that balance. And that's why, back to NBC again, in terms of broadcasting, when they say there has to be balance, there has to be a same platform. If, for example, you bring the chairman of APC to your studio, you cannot. You must also bring PDP or Labour in that their spokesperson, their chairman, to the same stadium and studio. That is a correct platform, you know. But if you wake up, you go bring the chairman to the studio. You now go and get the PRO in one village somewhere, and you said you are balancing. It's not the same platform at all. So if you interviewed them live, please interview every other person live. If you are bringing all of them three for them to discuss live phone-in program, yes, bring them three. Let there be phone-in program. If you are bringing them individually and there's live program, yes, let there be, because people will phone and tell them what is good or what is bad, or people have the right not to even call at all, you know. But when you bring someone live, the other man, you went to his house and interviewed him over breakfast. There's no equal platform in all of that. So there's no balance. If you don't do whatever you did to the other, you must do to the other. And the situation where we tend to look at the big political parties and also forget the smaller ones. We tend to follow more of the bigger candidates. We also forget the smaller ones. We are not a kind of giving correct access, correct platform, equal platform to these people. So you just see that they are just the underdogs. You just treat them like by the way.
All right, as we wrap up, what will be the agenda you think should be set by the various media houses in Nigeria in collaboration with the international media houses? Also, do you think there can be a strategic relationship between the local and international media in order to also force government to do the right thing and also force government to, release some information that they might be unwilling to release to local media, but release to the foreign media? Because we see like Kwankwaso and others, you see Senator Ali Nduma, you see them grant interview to BBC Hausa, say things they would not say to local media, but they'll say to, why is there that confidence?
Yeah, you see, sometimes, okay, let me just start this way in terms of synergy. When I was still in service, I was director of news with the Voice of Nigeria. Before all of that, we had MOUs with Deutsche Welle, we had with Radio France International, we had with Voice of Israel, Radio Sudan, South African Broadcasting Corporation. So media houses should ensure that they reach out to the international organizations. You don't just stay and remain local, so that there's staff exchange. There are times people from SABC will come to work for Voice of Nigeria, the Voice of Nigeria will go to South Africa and work for South African Broadcasting Corporation. We did same with Radio France International. You come in, they come in here, some of us will go there, and of course we got training in Israel. Some Israeli journalists and producers also came in here and trained people in Voice of Nigeria. It was that good, but somewhere along the line, some people just killed those initiatives. But I think, like in Voice of Nigeria, the new man, Jibril Ndachi, is waking up many of those MOUs. Then in terms of confidence, you see, I've told you something. When we begin to say something is local, we underrate it in Nigeria. Why do you say a medium is local? If you like, look at our players. You now say home base, local players, and all that stuff. And that's why if you check today, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, will now have what they call the local men, who will the local guys
championship for local players.
Exactly, and that's why you see we have to give them a chance, and that's why Nigeria has beaten Ghana, and these people will play, and from those scouts will go and see what they are doing, and even select some. And so, in the same vein, in the media world here, we can't just say we are local, and sometimes even when you look at the way, because they call us local, we also just to behave local too. Every time you just go in there so unkept, looking so hungry, you are being rated right from the gate. The security man is already getting you, you know. But when the BBC, VOA, Deutsche Welle will land there, you see them with their gadgets. Well, you are going there with your phone, stretching. I remember there was a time EFCC had a workshop. People approach Wole Soyinka for an interview. You are approaching him with phone. Telephone, you switch on the man, say, I don't understand this thing, you are choking into my mouth. No. That has to be. Not until some international media organizations started going with seeing some logos, BBC, Deutsche Welle, DW, RFI. I mean, you have made a statement by the way you have appeared. Our journalists should be well kitted. Move with your logo. Move well dressed. Move. I mean, we need to have all of those things. The psyche in Nigeria, no, they are just press boys. I mean, you look at the grandfather appears there. He says a press man. You see, he is a journalist first and foremost. So the media owners should also treat the journalist with respect and move forward effectively.
All right, I think my last question to you would be finally in terms of the year 2025 for the media houses themselves. How key is equipment? And also, yes, I know you touched about the training also, but in terms of equipment maintenance and support from the federal government, do you think the federal government is giving media houses, especially those private-run media houses, enough support? We hear government say they are taking loans, but we've never heard them say, okay, certain amount is earmarked to support media houses, both government-owned and private sector-owned, as a way of supporting the good work the media is doing.
Now, let me tell you something. Media houses that are private can simply go into partnership. What's this partnership? You run programs for them, and by that they give you money. And when they give you, go buy your equipment. Or you do it this way, almost like a trade by barter, a kind of. Yes, if I want a vehicle, or we want to build a radio house, I go meet Dangote. Look, give me so number of cement, bags of cement, or the 2-3 trailers of cement, and this is the cost. Fine. Now, in terms of advertisement, I'll ensure that every day we are running so duration for you by way of advertisement. So you collect that cement and go and already you are no longer buying cement. In the same vein, you want to get something from the Ministry of Finance, you want to get something from Environment, you want to get something from EFCC. Of course, go into partnership with them. There's no way they'll just carry money like this, public fund, and give you and say take. How do they? How do they retire such money? And it is because we are not doing enough back home here. No wonder EFCC will go and establish its own radio station. No wonder National Assembly they want to establish a radio TV. No wonder you have Institute of Legislative Studies or something like that. They have their own radio station. Police now have their own radio station. Customs will have their own radio station, which means that they have seen that we are not servicing them the way they ought to be. So I challenge BORN, Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria. What is it that they are not doing rightly or they've been doing so wrong that is making these government agencies to establish their own media organizations? And they begin to carry your own staff again to go employ them there. So what really is so Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, these are media organizations, private and government owned. They have that association. It's just like you say Guild of Editors. It comprises of editors from private and government owned media organizations. So if you say you have a Nigerian Press Council, yes. I mean, when you begin to you are not just looking at just information flow. How do we also assist the newsprint industry? How can we come out of all of this? So government can also, in terms of the newspaper, yes, you run advertisements. You run this wraparound. Is it wraparound or wraparound? I've forgotten that you do. You do spotlight, and therefore, if they see that a media is so antagonistic, I want to recall a Punch versus Sunday. Binyat. You see, at the point in Kaduna State, they felt Binyat was too critical, and they say, okay, we're going to withdraw adverts. We've been given a Punch newspaper. So all those kind of a thing we have to look at. If a reporter you feel is not friendly to you, you don't begin to withdraw adverts in order to punish an entire organization. Apart from that, well, Abiola tried it. He had money. He just felt he could just be removing money and doling out in areas where Concord, Community Concord, Sunday Concord, Daily Concord, they were not doing very well. It goes beyond just dipping your hand into, you carry money from one sector to run another sector. Each sector should be able to run itself, be self-sustaining.
All right, thank you very much. I want to say a big thank you to Ben Shimang with the African Service of Dr. Vera joining us this evening, helping us to x-ray the Nigerian media space and also project what we should be expecting from the Nigerian media come in this year 2025. I want to say thank you very much for taking your time out, busy schedule, and joining us and giving us a very deep and pleasant perspective to the media space, and we hope the government, the relevant agencies, and even the private owners have heard from the horse's mouth, like they say. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and wishing you a brilliant 2025.
Yes, thank you very much. Today is also my birthday. You denied me of my taking my rice. I've been looking at it and salivating without eating. So let me eat now. Happy birthday to me. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy birthday to one of Africa's finest journalists in the person of Ben Shimang. We're so glad to be part of you, and we celebrate you deeply, and happy birthday once again.
Thank you very much. Great.
All right, so that's how we call it a wrap on today's edition of the program, The Desk. I am Anthony Momodu.